Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to the Black Mirror. Let's continue. So, we met Vic, this kid. He threw a ball through the window and broke the window. I imagine that's not something we really need to worry too much about right now. We're trying to play as linearly as possible. Just, if it makes sense to me, let's do it. Maybe I could just take the ball and break his window. Actually, come to think of it, maybe I'm just supposed to break into the pawn shop with the break a window with Vic's ball, and then blame Vic the kid for it. Let's see. Is this broken glass on the floor? Let's talk to Harry.
Any news, Harry?
Nothing special.
I'll be back.
What happened to Mr. Gordon?
No conversation. That was useless? And we'll talk to Tom. And then we'll leave.
What do you want from me? I'd just like to ask about something.
All right.
Let's ask him about debt.
How long have you owed Harry money?
That's my business, not yours. Or do you want to pay up for me?
Sure.
Should I?
Well, I overheard your conversation about old Sir William.
Do you know anything that might be interesting to me?
Maybe I do, maybe I don't. My memory is fogging up. It's probably the thirst, you know.
That's...
I see. I know where he's coming from. I'll pay off his debt, and then I'll ask again.
So, wallet. I have a lot of money. And to use the candy outside of this area, and then use the wallet inside of this area, makes me feel like we're actually getting somewhere in the game, finally. Let's just... I guess we give the wallet to Tom. Or Harry. I guess we don't even use it. Maybe we just talk to Harry. And see, the intro here would be... should just be saying, like, Harry. And then he goes...
I believe you.
Yes. Just single sentence, single word. Responses to get into the conversation.
Will you change your mind about that debt of Tom's? It's partly my fault, you know.
I'd be glad to, but then he wouldn't pay it off next month either. They say he who doesn't pay should not drink.
Well, there is some truth to that. I have decided to pay off Tom's debt.
Well, why would you want to do that, Mr. Gordon?
I just want to. Could you sum it up?
Okay, well, as you wish. At 17 pounds.
All right. Here.
That's not an incredibly high amount of money.
No idea what Tom might have promised you, but you better not believe him.
That's none of your business.
So
what is his bill like now?
All clear.
Good.
Like 17 pounds. At best, it's slightly above 34 US dollars. Maybe in this area, a pint of beer is only like 50 cents. So maybe he was drinking 2 pints a day for a month.
You again?
That's not incredibly high.
I have done what you have asked. Now it's your turn.
Right,
Of course, this could be set in the past where it might be a little bit higher.
So, what do you know about William?
I'll tell you what I've heard. Nothing more, nothing
It's a little
less.
odd that they're using pounds,
People have said that from time to time, Sir William will go to
not
the
euros.
at night.
That's all? What's so strange about him going to church?
Nothing much, I'd guess. if it hadn't been late after midnight.
Oh, that is strange indeed.
Just ask the gravedigger or the vicar. They both saw him. But don't mention me if you decide to go see him.
So we need to
They
go
didn't
check
know
out
that
the
I told you anything.
church.
Oh, thank you.
So if it is a Catholic church, or pretty much any church of old, they probably would have like a midnight mass.
I need to speak with Mark. You probably know each other.
Yeah, we've known each other for years, but he's not here today.
Do you know where he works? I would like to go see him.
Mark only works when he must. He hasn't got a permanent
This
job.
is very badly written.
Try old Murray or Herman. He does something for both of them from time to time.
And honestly, if there was no voice acting in this and this was just reading, it would be too much reading. But it would probably come off a lot better because the voice in my head would be better than this main actor.
How's it going?
All right,
And honestly, it's the main actor's voice acting that's the real
I'm a
problem.
little short on time. Some other day, perhaps.
Never mind, I'm used to drinking alone.
None of them are great, but our main character is pretty awful. He is... He's probably not an English speaker, native English speaker. Seems like he's voicing out, sounding out simple sentences. Let's talk to the fisherman. I don't know if we really need to do
Excuse
this.
me. May I speak with you?
Sure you can, young man.
Maybe this is Murray. Are you the pawnbroker?
How are you? Have you stopped for a talk?
I'd like to ask you a question. I need something from the pawn shop on the other side of the river, but it's closed.
Yeah, that's possible.
Have you any idea when Murray opens the shop?
No, I haven't. I don't care what he does.
So how is it going today?
I'm going to catch a big one today. I hope. If only it will rain.
You mean because of the fish? Have you caught anything yet?
Not a scare. My luck was much better yesterday. Fish are too smart. They won't go out of water.
Well, I'm not surprised.
Heh, I had a very nice one on the hook a while ago, but it managed to slip away in the last second. I dragged it in as far as the pier, but then it snapped my line. The biggest and oldest ones are truly cunning. They get tangled in the seaweed at the bottom, and then wait until you snap the line yourself.
Why don't you fish further out in the river?
My old boat has too many leaks. Besides, I enjoy fishing this way better.
So maybe I'm supposed to fix the boat?
Good luck to you. I have
We've
to
seen
go
that
now.
boat.
Thanks. I hope it will start raining soon.
It seems possible that we might affect the weather at some point. To get a fish. The question is, why are we trying to get a fish? Like, it seems, if I was to guess, and we still haven't seen this time mechanic that I suspect is going to show up, we would catch a fish now, put it in the fountain in the past, and the fish would survive. Or we catch a fish now, put it in the fountain right now, and we go into the future. That seems also possible. There's a couple of different things here we need to click on.
Old fish market. I remember when old Mr. Fenton died, there was no one to take care of the fish market. I don't know what is there now, and I'm not interested.
As odd. How dead is your tiny little town that somebody doesn't want to run a fish market in a fishing community? Might as well just everybody move away.
My lawyer lived here. He moved away a long time before Catherine died. He always said he wouldn't be able to do much around here as a lawyer. He decided to move to Berkeley. with his family. I have not heard of him since.
So, all the signs are in English, so unless they're translated, and because their things are in pounds, we're now kind of forced with the idea that this is in the UK or somewhere close.
As to who lives in Davison's house today.
So, yeah, again, it feels like you would have to go to the past for some of these things to really matter. Otherwise, this is just clicking on things for no reason. I was thinking this was going to be in the Czech. Is it called the Czech Republic or Chechnya, Czechoslovakia? I think those are different places. And you know, it wouldn't have been a terrible idea to play a game or two where they just natively spoke Czech, which I guess is their language. I'm really underinformed here, clearly. And we'd listen to that and just had to subtitle it.
The door is locked.
So you knocked, nobody came. You tried the door, nobody came. I can't right click and do anything.
No one is home.
No one is home. After 3 clicks to exhaust everything. Do I have anything that would fill in all of the holes in the boat? No, if it has multiple holes, it's more than what a coin would fix.
The shop is closed. The shop is closed. The shop is closed.
The shop is closed. So, it seems like there's only 2 scenes in the city, which makes this area a lot more controllable than the Black Manor, which is a huge castle. I mean, even if this is the scale, the Black Manor is being depicted here as well, the Black Mirror Castle is being depicted as larger than the entire Willow Creek city. And this church apparently is half the size of the castle, which it itself is half the size of the city. So I bet these things aren't to scale. So maybe we will also save ourselves some time here. This is a rather large church for such a small city. You can enter the church, you can go to the main entrance, or you can go to the rear cemetery. Let's start with the rear cemetery. Now, I think the game is going to do us a favor and not allow us to read every single gravestone, which is going to help.
The names carved in stone are no longer legible.
And see, maybe if I get the 2 pieces of the strange object together, I can just travel in time wherever I'm standing. That would be a lot more helpful than it being a single action that moves you into another chapter. But I suspect that's how the game is actually going to play out, is we will enter chapter 2 once we can move in time. Oh, here's William's grave, so maybe we could have just gotten his personal belongings now. The 7 o'clock time element, I suppose, still hasn't happened.
One of the crypts of our family. I don't even know who's buried in it.
So it's like your family is filling up most of the graveyard. Nice animation here. This actually looks really nice. You would think that maybe earlier. So this is 1981 is the time frame, which puts it in about a few years, about a decade before the 93 year that this came out.
Rest in this cold grave forever.
Hmm.
I'll find out the whole truth, even if I go through hell for it.
And looking at things like this have in the past triggered things, so it's probably important that I do look at everything. Putting it in 81 makes it believable to not have things like cell phones or phone lines. 81 doesn't really make it super believable that the house wouldn't have electricity, but you know, an old castle that you didn't want to retrofit those things and damage it, particularly a castle that seems to be fighting any changes to it. Jeremy Gordon and gravestone. Again, I want to be very careful to pixel hunt anything. This has defeated us in the past. This cursor looks like it's almost a hand with two fingers, and I've certainly seen in other point-and-click adventures cursors like that, and that's not what it is at all. It's more like some strange curved blade instead of just a standard triangle. I guess in the old days, even in 93, having custom cursors and not really having any standardization for that was still a thing. Let's see. So we can enter the church. Let's try the main entrance first. We don't even know what time it is. Nice animation on the birds. We've seen that before.
The main entrance is closed and only opens on Sundays. I've got to use the side entrance.
Okay, so that probably implies this is a Catholic church, because churches in general, Catholic churches in particular, are always open for people to pray. The crosses probably also would indicate something if they're a special kind of cross, and some other symbology might indicate that. Also, we saw a Bible earlier, so if we got a good look at that Bible, it might also imply what branch of Christianity it is, if they're going to say that.
The church is locked.
Well, church being locked, that seems unbelievable for a Catholic church. At least a small prayer room would be open. Let's talk to the gravedigger.
Good afternoon. Have you time for a little talk?
I never hurry anywhere, unlike everyone else around here.
I'm interested
Odd
in
way to
learning
start a
about the parish
conversation.
and this cemetery. I think you're the right man to ask.
They're always trying to give more characterization to the people.
For many years now, I know the names on all the graves.
Father
What do you
Frederick.
want to know?
So, what do you know about Warm Hill Parish?
Tell me, how old is this parish?
No one knows how old exactly, but this cemetery and church are much older than anything in the neighborhood. A long time ago, they used to bury heretics here. They say there's a system of corridors under the cemetery where the souls of the innocent wander looking for a way out.
That would be very frustrating to run into a maze.
A lot all these years here, but
For instance?
well, it was a long time ago. But some years back, I I heard something like the voice of a child in the distance. It was moaning and singing verses. At first I thought it was just an illusion, but then I could no longer contain my curiosity and went outside to have a look. I followed the sound of the voice, but the closer I got, the less audible the voice became.
Maybe it was just a child playing nearby.
2 hours after midnight? I don't think so. Plus, look around. There are graves far and wide. But that's past now. I have no idea what it was, and I do not want to know. I don't even know why I'm telling you this.
Have you heard the voice?
So it was probably that guy.
I've already told you enough. Don't tell anyone about this. I don't want to look like an old fool.
There is a pretty good assumption you can make here that the guy in the photo is a crazy person that is also probably related to the main character and like an illegitimate son, or in this case an illegitimate nephew, and to the main character, and he was wandering around the catacombs of this place and that's what he heard. Let's ask about the church. Places than people.
Inside the church.
You have to wait for Father Frederick to return.
Interesting.
The church is going to stay locked until then.
But you can open it, can't you?
It doesn't matter. It's going to stay locked, as Father Frederick ordered.
You said you have known Father Frederick for many years. What can you tell me about him?
Father Frederick is the best man I know. He took me in when I was orphan and raised me as his son. For that I will be grateful to him for the rest of my life, and I will be around to help him as long as I am able to. But if you want to talk to him, you will have to wait until he returns from the neighboring manor.
I see. Thanks.
Odd. Right now I'm hearing a police siren, and it actually is not in the game. It is rather loudly outside my house and going through my microphone and feeding back into my headphones. Ooh, so apologies for that. Don't worry, they're not coming for me yet. In a game where the audio kind of matters, that's going to be problematic. I need more soundproofing, obviously.
Father Frederick's grave digger. And I don't mind if you have questions about it. It's true anyway. And you are a Gordon, right?
Yes, Samuel Gordon.
So you're the grandson of old Mr. William?
Yes.
Okay.
I saw you at the funeral.
Of course.
I didn't realize that was the relationship. I thought they were
Not
brothers.
personally. I would see him from time to time, though. He used to go inside the church.
How often?
Not that often, but when he did show up, he was always in a hurry. As if he knew he didn't have much time left.
So I'm wondering if he was
Did he ever speak with you?
maybe just getting holy water to protect himself or something.
But he would speak with Father Frederick, wouldn't he?
You will have to ask Father that yourself.
I will. Thanks.
So, if William is the grandfather and he had an illegitimate son, that would make the main character the potential either father of him, which is probably not the case, or he was the nephew and he was the uncle, and
I've heard that you sometimes saw William
that would make more sense.
late at night. Is that true?
Who told you that?
That's not important. So is it true?
I don't care to talk about it. I don't want to look for problems.
Whatever you tell me will stay just between us.
It's not like I think I can trust you, but since you're a Gordon, I'll tell you what I've seen.
That's weird.
Everyone who knew old Sir William thought he was a bit of a madman. Please don't get offended. And later, when he refused to see anyone, the gossip began floating about. I'm telling you this so that you know I'm not making up what I'm going to tell you next.
Go on.
I first saw him here some 6 months ago. I was sitting in my cabin, about to go to bed. I saw a light. It was someone approaching the church. In the 20 years that I've been working here, no one has ever come here this late. So I went outside.
Maybe there's
to check out
a
what was
reason
going
you have
on.
to be here at night.
I saw a figure
Like
concealed
the light
in
goes through a
dark
window and
clothes
points to a
walking among
spatial
the graves.
place.
He was looking for something, his head down to the ground.
Was it William?
At that moment, I had no idea who it was. I couldn't see his face in the darkness. He spent some 20 minutes there, going round, mumbling something.
What was he saying?
Well, I observed him from a distance. It wasn't audible.
So what happened next?
The church door opened, and he made for it right away. I cautiously followed him. Father Frederick was standing in the doorway. It seemed as if he was expecting that person. It was only then I realized it was Sir William, because I was close enough to recognize his voice. He and the father had a long conversation then, and Sir William was waving his hands vigorously about during most of it. They finally went inside, and that is all I saw.
Do you know anything more?
I never stick my nose in other people's business.
Thanks for telling me this.
I only told you because you're Sir William's grandson. Now leave me alone. I have to finish my work here.
I was reading the Father Frederick in the middle of the night.
So there is a slight disconnect here, because you can either have a small town where everybody knows everybody's business and there's all kinds of rumors and curiosity, or you can have a small town where everybody knows to mind their own business and nobody would tell me anything. In some parts of the story, it feels like they all refuse to tell me anything, but in some parts they also seem to know everything, and often it's just a small conversation to convince them to divulge the information that they should be more tight-lipped about, or you would think they were more tight-lipped about, simply based on me claiming to be somebody from 12 years ago. I mean, that would be one heck of a twist if it turned out I'm not even Samuel Gordon. However, the way this seems, that whole conversation happened, and
Can't leave now.
apparently I can't leave. So if I can't leave, then there must be something that we're trying to find. Some way into the church. Now, the gravedigger says Father Frederick is a great man. I don't, right now, so far at least, having not spoken to him or seen him, I don't see a reason why I would inherently want to assume that he's going to turn out to be a bad guy. It would be a cliche, and certainly that cliche might be done, but right now it doesn't make the most sense. Let's see. There's either nothing here or it's a pixel hunt. I may have to go to a walkthrough. It's kind of silly to not use it, since we're stuck in this area anyways. Because either there's some pixel that I'm supposed to see, which could be anything. I was thinking maybe the moonlight would cross over and through some of these windows and point to something, but honestly, if that is the case, you'd have to be here at nighttime, and we're not here at nighttime. In fact, we don't even know what time it is, so the whole parcel and personal effects element is still up in the air. I doubt I've missed it, but let's see, maybe there's something more. No, this foreground cross acts as a visual barrier for what is technically not a visual barrier. And so unless there's more conversation to have with him, or I'm supposed to show him something.
May I disturb you?
There must be more conversation.
Not for long. I've got a lot of work to do.
Ah, yes, Father Frederick.
Has Father Frederick returned yet?
No, he hasn't. It's a long journey from Windshire. He won't be back until tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Interesting.
You'd like to go inside the church, but I already told you about that. Now go. I have to finish this before dusk.
Wow, is this going to move to chapter 2 with that audio? Was that 7 bells?
I should return to the main gate. If Herman is true to his word, his man will be waiting there for me.
And so that moved the story forward.
Is that right?
I'm not Herman's man. I just work for him from time to time. You're Samuel
Whatever.
Gordon, aren't you? I've got something to deliver.
Yes. Please give it to me.
Yeah, why not? I don't care who you are anyway. I was supposed to give this package to whoever came to this gate at 7. That's when my job is over.
That seems like maybe
So I can go.
maybe you'll
Are you Mark?
Yeah,
change things.
that's me. Why?
Harry said you had worked in our garden.
A couple of times. So what?
I'd like to ask you about William Gordon. What can you tell me about him?
More conversations.
Nothing. I barely knew him. I just worked in the garden. I'm in a hurry. Do you want anything else?
No thanks.
Good. See you around.
Bye. I hope I'll find what I'm looking for.
And there we have that incredibly low frame rate. Like, that wouldn't even work on a cell phone game. Like, I don't even know why you would have such a low frame rate. It's not like at low resolutions like this. This is probably a pretty high resolution, actually, if I was to try to pixel count things. It's probably an 800 by 600 type resolution happening here, but it's not like those don't run at least 30 frames per second. Frame rates in the old days at least went to 30 frames per second. Now we're pushing towards 60 and higher, and we don't get consistent 60 frames per second too often, but at the very least you don't make your engine run so incredibly slow. Even NES games, from what I've recently learned, typically ran at 20 frames per second in a lot of cases, and that's not 20 frames per second, that's about 1 per second, and it is noticeable. But clearly that is an engine issue. Well, we've moved the story along, yet we're still not at chapter 2. I think, though, we're now on a path, And hopefully it will have the snowballing effect and we can actually play this game and start to have some fun. There was just a lot of setup being stuck in the Black Mirror manner to begin with, and having to have conversations that weren't very linear or make much sense. Now we kind of know what we're doing. We're investigating 3 different things from 3 different angles, all revolving around this death, and hopefully it will all come together. I think it is still a little weird, though, that you keep a church closed. Like, I think if you asked a Catholic father or any church leader, they would say churches don't close. God doesn't turn people away. Particularly if it's a Catholic church and people wanted to request asylum, which is something they actually kind of take seriously under Catholicism. You wouldn't have a church door closed, because then nobody could run there and request asylum or protection. That seems very odd. Anyways, that's it for this game. As always, I ask you, well, that's it for this recording, not for this game. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.